Are you going to continue making movies or just be a housewife?
I couldn't really care less about making movies, to tell you the truth. I consider it much more important to be a good woman than a great actress.
That was a 25-year-old Elizabeth Taylor in a 1957 interview with Edward R. Murrow on the CBS News show Person to Person. During her 6-decade-long career, the Hollywood icon starred in nearly 60 movies, among them National Velvet, the epic Cleopatra, and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. She earned her second Oscar for that one. She was also, of course, a tireless advocate in the fight to cure HIV and AIDS, even taking that fight to Capitol Hill.
The people on the front lines of this fight need our help urgently to save lives. We cannot let them down.
Now author Kate Andersen Brower has written Elizabeth Taylor, The Grit and Glamour of an Icon. It is the first authorized biography of the superstar. It's based on diaries and letters, along with interviews with the people closest to her in her life. And we are happy to say that Kate Andersen Brower and Elizabeth Taylor's grandson, Quinn Tivey, join us now. Quinn is also an officer of the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Quinn, I got questions for you, but I want to start with Kate. I imagine that you read a lot of other things about Elizabeth Taylor and then got access to the diaries and the letters. When you did that, and people had not seen those before, what did you learn?
I learned that she was so much more complicated than the headlines suggested at the time. You know, she was a passionate, fierce woman. She also had a lot of vulnerability in her own life. And the letters, I thought, between her and her husbands over the years, especially with Richard Burton, it showed somebody who was deeply in love, wanting to fight for love. And it showed her own struggles.
The love letters are really remarkable. There's the tear-stained letters and just the beauty of her relationships as we remember all the rest.
Yeah, and she was also a great writer. I mean, some of these letters she wrote to people after they passed away. And one of the letters I love, she wrote to Michael Jackson after he died, and how painful that was for her because they were very close. And then she wrote to Richard Burton, where she talks about how much she just wants to hold him again. I mean, it's almost like her own form of therapy.
Yeah.
It was also clear in the book that Mike Todd was certainly her true love. And she talked about that, and that's where you come in, Quinn, because your mom is Liza Todd.
Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, because Liza Todd is your mom. But I like in the book where you said, Kate, she never thought of herself as larger than life. She was always famous. And I wonder, did you see her as larger than life? Number one, what did you call her?
I called her Grandma.
Grandma was as simple as Grandma.
Yeah.
Did you see her as larger than life? Because growing up, to you, she was Grandma.
She was Grandma. Of course, Grandma also meant huge parties and big get-togethers. She would bring us all together for Thanksgiving, for Easter, for whatever. But her Easter parties were much bigger than the parties I was otherwise used to.
Kind of epic.
So
I know you write in the book that Quinn and your brother Reese were like kittens going up the steps to visit her. And there's a sweet story of you laying in bed watching movies with her. Did you learn something about her that you didn't know in this process? Because the family had to sign off on Kate doing this book.
yeah. In my relationship with her, personally, I kept her celebrity in sort of a different pocket. Yeah. And I just knew her as this amazing woman and as this wonderful and sweet and loving grandma. So in my job as a trustee, in my job working with her estate, in my job now helping with this book and getting to read Kate's excellent work, I've learned so much more about her as an icon. And the things that I'm seeing are inspiring me.
To you.
Yeah, and the way that she lived her life.
Yeah. Kate, you don't shy away from getting into the so-called rock bottom experiences with Elizabeth Taylor, knowing that the family would be reading it, knowing that they had opened the doors to you. Was it difficult to confront the full truth of it all?
I was pleasantly surprised that they were open to talking about her struggles with addiction. I mean, she was the first person to really talk about going to Betty Ford. She had obviously famous struggles with her weight, and she was the punchline of a lot of jokes throughout her life. And I think that the family was finally ready to talk about her her passion and the pain that she lived with. You know, at the time she was 26, she had been twice divorced and once widowed after Mike Todd died. So this is a woman who had been through an incredible amount of loss, but she's also somebody who was the first influencer. She's somebody who was bringing up issues in the 50s and 60s, like gun control.
Her work on AIDS was legendary. But I like that she apparently gave you advice about love, Quinn, or about dating. Mike Nichols said 3 things about Elizabeth you never saw. Never saw her tell a lie, be unkind, be on time, which family members say is true. What was the advice she gave you about love or dating?
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
And it has worked. I am happily married to, it's my camera. Love you.
Quinn Tivey, we love
and
here.
He's got his grandmother's eyes.
We love
too.
here. We love this
Yes,
book as
we
well.
do.
It's a
Thank you.
tremendous
Good job.
accomplishment.
Thank you so much.
Kate Andersen, Brower, Quinn Tivey, thank you both very much. Elizabeth Taylor, the grit and glamour of an icon, is on sale right now. Up next, look at all that mattered this week. We'll be right back.